All right, this probably shouldn't take me as long as it normally does. And I'll have a text of this posted to Facebook. I'll have text, I'll have audio. I just want to share the thoughts. Now, representatives in the Senate claim to have 4 issues with the big, beautiful bill. After narrowly passing in the House of Congress, it's off to the next vote, where each state, regardless of population, has 2 senators. In D.C., they have a fun little process called reconciliation. This is an expedited process for bills poised to implement policies embedded in the Congressional budget resolution. These bills could be introduced, debated, and held to a vote on their own merit, but that's not fun. So, guess when this process was first used? 1980. Yeah. You see, that's the first year that the John Birch Society tried to take the Oval Office. And well, would you look at them now? Using reconciliation will allow them to do very patriotic things without inconvenient obstacles like the filibuster. Mr. Smith is no longer needed in Washington. Passing it with a simple majority should happen sooner than later. Now, you're not going to believe this, buddy, but the American Petroleum Institute has been doing their happy dance to the music of oily freedom spilling from this bill's current pipeline to the president's desk. While they have on red hats, why not gift us with a clause in the bill? Something like ending the previous administration's tax cuts for clean energy products. Now, I'm no economyologist, but I wonder if it's relevant that stocks decreased an average of 27% actually, between 3 solar outfits. The drops came in lower for several more. A federal 30% federal tax credit is also removed for folks that installed solar panels on their rooftops. Industry leaders, they really thought that there would be a reasonably expected pace to these actions for whatever reason. Now, I don't know about you, but I seem to always have an electric company that does this whole peak service thing, where when it's mega hot in the summer, the climate change summer, you'll actually pay more for your electricity if you'd like to run that air conditioner. You know, like 2 p.m., super hot, 3 p.m., super duper extra mega hot. And they're like, you know what? For your little kilowatts, we gotta up the price, baby. Well, you see, a collective of analysts with the Rhodium Group, well, they took a little peeky-poo at the bill and saw that we could also be paying an additional 7% on our bills on top of those peak hour costs, if your company has that program in place. Now, let's go back in time a little bit. Let's run it back, spin it back. You see, when I was a young warthog, I loved reading the whole newspaper. That would be the News Tribune in Pierce County, right? Out there in Puget Sound. And I read that every morning. One morning, I saw that old William Jefferson Clinton signed off on the welfare to work bill. And, well, his fellow friend of Jeffrey is about to stomp a fresh pair of golden sneakers in those footsteps. Now, you see, some very important people took a look at a previous census and found that among the people willing to utilize programs like Medicaid and SNAP, well, they aren't spending enough time at the capitalism factory. Got to get on that line. So, requiring folks to work more to prove they are deserving isn't the only effect we're going to see. Now, a quick note. Go follow this page called Misa on Wheels. All right? Note over. Coming from ABC News 13, there's a Virginia couple, and they work together caring for two adults with what is described as intellectual disabilities. That's what I found in the article. They could only do this through a program funded by Medicaid. The couple, they tell the news outlet that the bill could force them to relocate after building a strong relationship of understanding with the folks that they care for. Now, here's a quote from the couple. "We've gotten to know them. We know their triggers, their likes, dislikes. So it would be very sad if the program was cut and they were moved someplace else." End quote. Now, the nonprofit that gets the funding through Medicaid is called Encircle, and they could face insurmountable budget issues once the bill is implemented. Now, I want to go in another direction. Now, when I was in my late 20s, these folks were absolutely against looking at anything regarding the lives, health, safety of transgender folks. I don't know when the turnaround was, but there seems to have been a bit of a change with the folks over at HRC, Human Rights Campaign. And there's a little bullet list from one of their articles here, and it's subheaded "Key Background on Impact of GOP Reconciliation Bills to LGBTQ plus people." Wait, what's the... Okay, I don't know what the plus is right now, but I remember when I was younger, I may have fallen out of touch, but it was LGBTQIA, right? It was lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual. I think that would be the plus. I don't know if there's more. So taking a look at this bullet list here. 1, estimates from the Congressional Budget Office find that the Republican proposals could kick 13.7 million people off of Medicaid. Medicaid is a crucial resource for the health care for LGBTQ plus individuals, covering a disproportionate share of low-income folks, including 21% of transgender individuals and 40% of people living with HIV. Yeah, I was born in the 80s. It's 2025. Still HIV. I watched a gang of folks die in the 90s, cuz. Second on that bullet list, Medicaid is the largest payer for HIV care in the U.S., and any cuts would jeopardize access to essential treatment for individuals living with HIV, undermining national efforts to end the epidemic. Pausing there, because something that I've been calling this whole thing broadly and generally, all right, one of the fair descriptions, I think, would be spray and pray eugenics. Right, like what they're doing with water, food safety. Now this over here, they know that it's going to affect some people classified as white. And even with this, it's going to affect, there are people classified as white who one might see as conservative that will have HIV, that could be exposed to HIV. You know, be they out, closeted, or maybe being exposed to it by any other means. But that's okay. They're okay with those folks dying. They're fine with that. Right? As long as enough of the folks that they want gone will be gone. Remember, these people are they have a breeding fetish. They see it as they'll just crank out way more offspring. Just crank them out. Don't even worry about it. Right? They're like, hey, look at Robert De Niro. Crank out more offspring. Yeah, so it's they have no reason to care. They're gonna do their spray and pray eugenics, right? They don't care that somebody's gonna die from some E. coli and the whole deal. Salmonella's gonna go wild. It's gonna go wild. And I've worked in packaging factories, and like, just in like, and we're talking like Gerber rooms, right, where they package Gerber products. We don't make them, we just package them. And like, trying to keep salmonella off the work tables, it's a fight. It's a war constantly. And I think they should actually test for it more in those packaging factories. Yeah, that's right. Your Gerber products could have a little salmonella in there. What are they called? Lil Crunchies? Careful about buying them Lil Crunchies, all right? Like, them joints could be mad dangerous. I've worked in the factories where they make those. The rooms are dusty. They're not cared for very well. You don't want to see how the sausage is made, folks. That might be something worth revisiting. Back to that bullet list. Third on there, many LGBTQ plus community health centers rely on federal funding through Medicaid. Any reduction would limit services like mental health support, gender-affirming care, and STI testing. And I come from the language STD, sexually transmitted disease, and STI, sexually transmitted infection. And last on this bullet list, roughly 22 to 25% of LGBTQ plus adults in the U.S. live in poverty. Because in Western culture, poverty it exists by force. They want poverty to exist. You gotta know that about Western culture. They don't want prosperity for everyone. That's just rhetorical window dressing. They want the poverty. And it isn't just Trumpism or Republicanism or Bircherism, if you will, or an old Confederate attitude. That's how they were when they invaded on Plymouth Rock, right? When Christopher Columbus, pedophile rapist Christopher Columbus, invaded the Taino people on what is now called the Rich Port, or you may know it as Puerto Rico. Why'd they call it the Rich Port? We gotta look into that. What made them so rich? I don't know. I just don't know. I do know that my wife's grandmother was born into slavery in Puerto Rico, but I don't know why. I have no idea why it's the Rich Port. Can't figure that one out. All right, so that's what I'm seeing so far. I have some more information I'm gonna tune into, and keep bringing it to you. We're gonna push the pin, and we're gonna hit the microphone, and maybe you can get the information you need, and in a way that makes you feel a little less hopeless and unhappy. All right, I hope that this has been engaging and constructive for you. Please be as safe as possible wherever you are.